They definitely did. When they went up in the Chinese versus Chinese match, the last game map in particular, I actually like the entire series.
Yeah.
I don't know how many kills we had, like, but it was above 50 in total for sure.
It was like it was 29-28 both matches, something like that.
So it was absolutely bonkers, and the last map in particular was very chaotic, but very, very fun to watch, and a nice comeback as well. I would rate it 6.5 out of 10 any day of the week.
But then, in talking of close matches, Snitch, we just had BlossoM versus Tempest earlier today, and BlossoM did not go down easy.
Yeah, I mean, BlossoM were looking very solid for the most part against Tempest earlier today. It's just Tempest was playing on another caliber, I find. You know, as far as these Korean teams go, it's pretty clear that BlossoM has kind of isolated themselves as their 4th seed. But as we've already seen, against China, that doesn't seem to be an issue.
This can be the case. Unfortunately, as we've already seen during the during the early stages of the bracket, China very much struggling. But the one team that really actually seemed to put up any kind of fight, and against Gen G no less, did seem to be BTG. And this is once again playing with 2 subs, one of which is a Korean player. As we said, maybe the only way to beat Korean teams is to have a Korean player or be European in some cases. But right now, we have to talk about this matchup in the sense of BlossoM are the clear favorites.
Yeah, they definitely are. But I think this is also, again, a series where we could have a couple of really wild picks. We had a few surprise picks already, a bit of a Z-Bro coming at us onto the Spider Queen too, so that was an interesting one.
And also, I would although I would quite personally, as much as I do know that BlossoM look like the stronger team, I am going to be very much being a little biased towards my home region and supporting BTG.
His home region, when
home
that
yeah, that's where he's from, I believe. Yeah.
My casting region, especially seeing as it is my fellow co-caster from HGC China, Kendrick Swish's birthday, so I'm sure he would like a China win for his birthday as a present. But for now, here is the favorite team. It is BlossoM.
I mean, first of all, a big shout out to a fellow German. But yeah, if you're Chinese now, then we're going to remove you from the European part of that section.
I cast Europe too. Also home region. Dual nationalities. Sorted. Merryday, once again, bringing out the Lucio earlier on today. It was unusual, to say the least.
That was an interesting pick for sure. Like, everybody was just like memeing afterwards and saying, now imagine that game with proper support that actually has an impact. It was wild.
Yeah, I mean, I actually happened to run into Merryday right after that series, and he looks at me dead in the eyes, shakes his head, and he says, Lucio bad. So, I mean, I think we can hope that BlossoM have learned from their earlier draft choices, and maybe we'll go for a little bit more standard play against the seed from China.
Seems like the kind of thing that you should probably gather information-wise before the tournament starts and not in game 4 of a series. But either way, then at least he knows.
Yeah, I mean, at least they've learned, you know. That's what being at the Eastern Clash is about, learning on an international stage, you know, gaining some experience.
Yeah. I mean, in this case, this team, they said they did come to learn and have fun here, especially this player coming up from the Korean Open division. Healer Police coming in here as the last or second substitute, forcing this Chinese team to communicate in English, which they were not prepared to do.
It was really interesting to me because I really want to listen to their comps. I really want to hear that. I cannot believe that they actually can make all the calls, a lot of them in proper English.
Especially the late game ones.
Exactly. When we had that very chaotic game on Battlefield of Eternity, it's not just calling the target within a fight. There are so many things where you have to protect 2 lanes while still battling for the objective. And the English of the boys is limited in that sense. With translators, you get through that problem. But I really want to know how the communication looks like within their own comps, because yeah, it has to be a huge problem.
Yeah. We have also, however, been seeing BTG doing some interesting things with their roles. They have been letting Locktar, who came in as the flex player, play a little bit more of his usual at-home role ranged, where he's been playing some absolutely superbly Ming. But it does mean that dancing, their usual range, is sometimes being forced into this more flex role, which from what we saw with his Dahaka, he did not seem as comfortable with.
Locktar was actually playing really well, especially the first game. He carried that with Li Ming. It was really fun to watch him do that. And you talked about the adjustments that the team made to just cater more towards his style and his power level. I really like that approach a lot, and so far it's been working out for them.
Yeah, I think it's a really nice decision actually from BTG. You know, maybe in their first games they didn't feel too comfortable. They felt like they needed to change something, and I think it was looking a lot better in their second series. As we say, Locktar on the Li Ming, looking very, very clean and crisp, doing a lot with his resets, seems very confident with the combos and following up on his tanks and gauges. Even though, you know, this is a team with subs and this is a team with not much experience, there was definitely moments of, you know, lots of hope coming from their play.
Yeah, and this performance so far already taking down the #2 seed from China, the one who in group stage looked stronger. We're going to be having a quick look at the maps right now. Braxis and Tomb of the Spider Queen are banned, and it's going to be Battlefield of Eternity coming in as our first map. Pretty even map for BlossoM, but one of BTG's stronger maps, who are 5-1.
Yeah, which we've seen yesterday.
Yes,
Again,
we did, so 6-1, I guess. Yeah.
The interesting part to me is that you show up at a tournament, you come in as a 4th seed, and then you outperform with 2 sub-players the plays that you made during the regular season with your full lineup.
Yeah, I mean, no, I doubt anyone can point to another example where we've seen anything like that happen outside of maybe Loba substituting for Zealots in European League play, where he did a pretty decent job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was wondering if you had any other examples. Sorry, I should have exaggerated. No. But yeah, either way, draft is ready. We're going to be heading into that. But it's a fascinating thing to see. They're able to perform so well, but now they are up against the gauntlet with BlossoM.
Yeah, I mean, as we've seen already, you know, China versus Korea, a little bit of a dangerous story. Looking at Battlefield in particular, obviously we saw them perform very well on it yesterday. I'm kind of interested to see, you know, we talked about some crazy picks. We have already seen BTG pull out the Alarak. Now, they didn't do it on this map specifically, but this is one of those Alarak maps. So if they are trying to play a little bit wild, a little bit risky, do something different, maybe they'll be looking at that again on this sort of map.
I mean, this is where LOK did bring this out the most on this map in particular, but we all saw him. It was Infernal, or was it Volskaya? No, it was Volskaya, where we saw him bringing it out yesterday, so he's showing a bit of flexibility there. We'll start off with that Diablo ban by BlossoM.
When it comes to like the potential surprise picks, it's not only so much about BTG, but BlossoM has been another team that is absolutely willing to go deep into the hero pool here. And I really want to see that. Especially, I enjoy a lot how Hong Kono is just going full YOLO whenever he's on a tank that allows for the engages. So I really want him to have a tank where he can pull that off again, because it's just super fun to watch.
Genji removed. It's another fantastic Locktar hero, but in this case, they decide not to go for that. The other heroes that can work fantastically on this map, as we've already said, with Hanzo removed, we're looking at the Rainers potentially. Otherwise, it's Li Mings and heroes like that with Poke.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me too much to see BTG even take an early Li Ming. They've seemed most comfortable when they have Locktar on that hero, so if they're going to be playing around kind of their subs and playing around what they can perform with in this tournament, I think Li Ming would be a safe bet. The double tank ban from BlossoM is actually very interesting. I wonder if they're going to respond to this by picking a tank in the first pick. They're actually going to take the Maiev, which has been left open.
Very interesting having that Maiev here. Once again, it's one of LLK's favorite heroes, so we might not be seeing the Alarak. But they don't pick up the tank. They double ban tanks and then don't immediately pick something up. But BlossoM have been known to run a Nubrak, including on this map, so it might be a situation of they feel confident that what they want isn't going to get picked or banned.
I mean, they go immediately for the power pick, which we've seen in the previous Korean series with Reina and Deck, which are super highly prioritized. But it's always a little bit weird when you're focusing on one specific role with your bans and then don't pick it up early.
I mean, we've already seen Hong Kong be very flexible with his tank pool in this tournament. As you say, the Anubrak, he's also played ETC on this map already.
True.
We also know he's a competent Muradin, has a big history with Muradin. I think he's very comfortable, you know, leaving the tanks open and just maybe banning away some of the meta tanks to make this Chinese team a little bit more uncomfortable.
Alex Straza and Blaze on the board. Alex Straza's an interesting one, doesn't actually offer that much immortal race, but seems to be something that the Chinese teams, as we saw from mid-season Brawl as well, seems to be leaning on a fair amount.
But it surprises me slightly that BTG didn't go for a tank themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, the argument that Snitch just made makes perfect sense. You have such a wide hero pool on your frontliner that you're banning out 2. You don't feel pressured into taking one immediately. But once that the Chinese team doesn't pick one in the 2-3 rotation, you allow for 2 more tanks to be removed. 1 picked away and 1 banned out. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So now that pool for BTG is becoming smaller and smaller. And even the Li Ming is being picked away from them.
So stealing away another great Lockdown hero, grabbing that ETC. They have some amazing pick-off and blow-up potential here with this composition. And the potential right now, if you look at the side of BTG, there's not a huge amount of Mosh interrupts, so they're going to have to react to this in their final 2 picks.
Muradin would be an answer, potentially.
Very much so.
We've seen Tyrael compositions on the map when you have a Maiev in the mix.
There's Muradin, and it's going to be Phoenix. They already have Blaze, they now have Muradin, they have a consistent amount of slows, so Phoenix is a good finisher there, but they do not have a good amount of Immortal Race.
I'm just so stumped by this ETC pick again. We addressed it last time. BlossoM opened on Battlefield and they went with the ETC, but this time they had the Sergeant Hammer. It made a lot more sense, you know? Build a strong front line, protect the Reyna, protect the Hammer, have that slow push-up. This time, I don't really see the great argument for ETC, and I think it's a bit of a mistake to let them have the Muradin. It's probably a lot more comfortable to have it. Like, I don't think they were looking for something like ETC, but the Tyrael last pick, you know, we've got the Holy Mosh, you know, a classic.
That's true.
I was just about to say, if you ban a hero out and you don't if you don't want to have Muradin and you say, okay, we're going to pick ETC, I would rather ban Muradin than an Uberag. An Uberag is a lot more, especially when you're going up against a Chinese team who are very dive heavy and oftentimes a bit overly aggressive. Then if you have the ETC, you can punish an Uberag for using the borrowed charge already. I mean, I get it, you want to save Reyna in the backline, but still, I would be more afraid of Muradin in the long run than of an Uberag with the setup that they're running here.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. It kind of feels like maybe a poor adaptation on BlossoM's part. I don't think we've seen the Chinese teams have a high priority on a Uberag in general throughout this tournament.
Really.
It seems like, yeah, they kind of prefer this like general Diablo, Garrosh, Muradin, like these sort of just more generic tanks. So it's a bit confusing to see them come off the, you know, the Korean series and still be drafting like it is that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a little bit worrying for the way these drafts are going to go further throughout the series.
I mean, it's game one, so I feel like that also plays a bit of a role. You test the waters, play what you know, and then you adapt.
So let's move away from the ETC for a second and talk about the other tank on the side of BlossoM and the Tyrael. There's a very good chance we could be seeing a Sanctification coming in here, but what do you think is the over-under on a potential Judgment to combine with that Li Ming? As currently, BlossoM very much winning our fan vote.
I think I'd be very surprised to see a Judgment, honestly. Yeah. I feel like Sanct is working so much better against what BTG have drafted, between the Salvo, the Maiev in general, you know, stalling out the bunker. All these sort of things are things that Sanctification is great for. It starts to be more flexible in the team play, I think.
And if you have Maiev on the other side, and Maiev is going to try and force the fight, then Sanctification helps you also a lot more.
Very true.
And I don't feel that Sanctification really synergizes too well with the rest that BlossoM has here. Only for the Li Ming follow-up, that seems like a pretty big cooldown to burn for that.
Indeed, and there is also a bunker as well, so if that stun does not last long enough, you have that reaction. Well then, let's see if that Sanctification is going to be enough, or if they will surprise us with a Judgment or anything else out of the ordinary, as we're heading into game number 1 between BlossoM and Beyond the Game.
And we're good to go here with Korea starting on the left of Battlefield of Eternity as we see Modern on Li Ming. We have Wiz on Tyrael, Meriday on Deckard, Gon on Reyna, and Hong Kono on EDC.
And on the right-hand side, representing China and the Korean Open Division, it is going to be Beyond the Game with Healer Please on Alexstrasza, Lokhtar on Blaze, 619 on Muradin, LLK on Maiev, and Dancing is on that Feeding. So they have once again flexed Lokhtar here, putting him onto the off-laner. Once again, a little bit off of his main role, but this is still a very aggressive hero he can play with if he can get that charge in.
Interestingly enough, for Healer Please, we actually have Circle of Life taken as the level 1 talent here, so very heavily dependent on Regeneration Globes, and that's one of those quest talents where on Battlefield of Eternity, I expected them to adapt.
Unless you, I mean, for starters, First Blood acquired as they look for more, leaving dropping damage onto Muradin, but he tanks through. But like you said, globes are hard to get here unless you win the Immortal consistently, and if we go for Immortal race, I would very much lean in favor of BlossoM. So a bold pickup here for BTG. Speaking of bold pickups, 2 kills in the first minute of the game. This is what we've been seeing from BTG in the previous series as well.
Yeah, BlossoM just got a bit of a wake-up call on that bot lane in the 4 versus 4 setup. 2 heroes down immediately, Deck had to die first and then Reyna to follow. Not quite what you would expect, but I like the aggression out of BTG. Yeah. Kudos.
Gauder, I don't know if you're aware of this, but it turns out Maiev is a little good.
Really? Tell me more about that.
So apparently she kills heroes really well. I didn't notice either, so it's brand new news to me.
Considering that she is the Night Elf and a Warden, and she was already annoying in Warcraft 3, I don't doubt that for a second.
Fair enough.
My ghouls suffer.
Oh dear, as we see LLK, he is trying to be annoying, he is trying to make them suffer with that extra pressure onto Hong Kono, but quick prog rock there, quick guitar solo, able to heal himself back up pretty quickly.
So there's a few things that I really just want to throw in. And so the first of all is obviously the Korean teams are looking towards China and are simply saying, okay, we are the better region. We are the better teams coming into this. And oftentimes, even when you see a Chinese team do well in the early stage of the game, level 10 oftentimes just swaps that. So the decision making of Korean teams on this level is really strong. At the same time though, BlossoM needs to be a bit careful.
Yeah.
With the 2 kills in the early game, that's something where you can say, okay, oops, that just happened. But if that trend continues, then BTG definitely has chances to snowball this year. So BlossoM definitely needs to take this serious.
The other counter to that, though, once again, is in our earlier series today, it is BlossoM against Tempest who seem to struggle a little bit with some of that later game decision-making.
True.
So if BTG can get there, we'll have to see if they're able to execute their composition and which of these teams might have that killer instinct.
And Chinese teams thrive on chaos, and chaos we got a lot in these team fights today, not only in the previous series. I like now the adjustment. This is actually like a discussion that we had backstage quite a bit with Snitch and others too. The Reina talent on level 4, BlossoM now going into Fight or Flight, which in the Western scene generally known as the better talent. Gonda here, not even with Fight or Flight, is able to survive this though.
Son of Phoenix. He's getting dropped low, but teleports away. BTG, 3 kills in as many minutes, and they begin burning down the Immortal.
I mean, they also have taken a pretty significant lead in experience, considering
really
that we're only 3 minutes into the game.
I'm impressed. This is a good start for Beyond the Game. We can see Modern was trying to counter race, but Li Ming, as much as she does have that good Immortal damage, she does a little bit better in those poke situations where you're attacking into an opponent's Immortal while they're defending, as you either hit the Immortal or hit them, and either way you hurt. But in this case, exactly potentially this, not so much this situation, this is the opposite of that. As we see LLK being forced to back up though, as they're trying to poke in.
It's actually really interesting to me because it's Healer Please that I can see the players from here. And he is talking by far the most on their team right now. He's basically directing the entire time what's going on. Whenever we have, like right now, as we speak, that guy is just talking their ears off. And that direction, having that shot calling, seems to be something that really helps the team.
They're doing okay for the moment as Healer Police uses the wind buffet, gets himself out of range. Nice bolt of the Wardens by LLK as the Immortal is picked up by Beyond the Game. First one of the game, and it is going to be about a 50% shield Immortal. Yeah,
and this can really help them now to spiral forward. But it would also maybe explain a little bit why all of a sudden BTG is doing so well. If Healer Please doesn't only come in as a sub player, but also has taken over some of the shot calling in the team now.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting follow-up, because so far haven't really picked up on that. But now looking at them, it really gives the impression of him having a very active role in directing what happens, how they approach every single team fight.
Right now, with that aggression, it's working well in their favor as they are moving in to the first fort of the game, looking for Reina here. Armor can be applied here. There's the 25 armor, keeping Gondar alive for the moment, as instead it's Modern who drops low, but LLK, he also in a lot of damage and has to back up.
Look at BTG, they're going to Value Town with this Immortal. They're already dropping that fort down to just basically no HP. It should survive, but barely. You can pick that up anytime. And BTG has already a half-level lead. Like, they are getting insane value out of this.
And that was the first Immortal of the game they were able to make that play with. As we see right now, BlossoM, they're continuing to rotate, trying to find more experience in any of the lanes. As Locktar, he's sneaking away this mercenary camp. Reina will scout this, but Locktar also has reinforcements of his own hovering around the area, but it looks like they're deciding to delay this a little bit, try and bait in the members of BlossoM, and it might have worked.
Yeah, they're going in again, and at this point they are not getting the camp, but can they maybe follow up with a kill? That's not quite. Take the camp down right away, but it was a clutch move.
Ongono, great face melt, easily able to shut down that very risky move from BTG and steal away that camp, but it was cleared up very fast by Beyond the Game.
I'm still really interested to see how BTG can carry this into the later stage, because so far they're doing great in the early game. It's just one level 10 hits that we could see this turnaround with Korea having that synergy. But they are trying to go for another kill, and they're going for Wiz here immediately. Already, I really like the split here too. Murden just waiting for Tyrael to attempt and jump out. Doesn't really get the kill, but he at least gets another Stormbolt in. And we all know how important it is to complete the Stormbolt quest. It makes Murden so much more dangerous. And he's already sitting at 19 stacks on his Stormbolt quest. 15 stacks on the Perfect Storm.
Lots of extra damage potential here, so he's going to be able to, in the late game, burst down. No Sledgehammer, no sneaky extra immortal damage there. Very much reliant on this team fight style with that Thunderburn, which is going to make it a lot easier for Phoenix to land that Purification Salvo as we hit level 10.
Yeah, and down to the bot lane, we still have the remnants of the camp pushing in, and that could deliver the fort at some point, which would drop a significant amount of experience into the hands of BTG.
Minion waves pushing up, like you said, the remnants of the camp
There's
still
Muradin.
there. Muradin's going to push with it as we see the halfway point. Strangely enough, completely the opposite of what I expected. It is BTG who win the race here against BlossoM.
Yeah, but here's the fort. The fort is falling any moment, and once that's the case, there should be level 10 either hit or just barely there. And there we have it.
There it is.
Now BlossoM has to give this one up.
Yeah, we immediately see 619 moving in, forcing Wiz to teleport out. Modern will poke in a little to lower that shield, as all the level 10s are online, except for Maiev, who's holding. In comes ETC with the counter move, though, looking for 619, who drops the avatar. Dwarf toss, face melt, but he is out with the cleansing flame, looking for the turnaround.
Hankono actually missing the interrupt on the dwarf launch here, so he is able to hop away, and now we're having the chase, and there's still no heroic ability. If they can lock someone down, this is going to be lights out for BlossoM. They need to be so careful. Their cage is down, the salvo is hitting, but Phoenix falls first.
A great turnaround by BlossoM. They are wrecking this fight. 619 over the wall, locked on with the stun, trying to give them the escape route. A great route by Deckard, and they take down Blaze.
And they haven't taken the immortal
yet.
Oh
LOK!
Oh, mama!
He pops off, he dodges the Tyrael. The Dragon Queen is keeping him alive, but EGC gets the kill.
2 kills against 2 at this point. 3 actually. Phoenix is already back. That immortal has not been taken yet. BTG did not go for the immortal because they were chasing. And BlossoM is saying, who needs heroics?
They're gonna burn it. They're going to try and burn it down. Phoenix is going to run in. Looks like they want to still fight. They don't want to give this up. They're going to try and force them off and get the kills. Looking for Merryday. Good hostile synergy salvo. But Merryday is taken out by 619.
Merryday goes down, but BlossoM has the immortal. The fight isn't over yet either. This is getting pretty chaotic here. 6 kills for BTG, 3 for BlossoM. This is a typical game with China participation, is what it feels like.
LLK just hopped off. That was easily a BlossoM fight until he got that 4-man Umbral bind, picking up a double kill. Now they're going to be able to burn this down pretty quickly with all their heroes, but while this is happening, BlossoM with the push in top lane. They even have Hyperion if they wanted to commit to this, but they don't even need it.
I mean, it's still mind-blowing that BlossoM was able to get those kills in the first place because it was level 10 already. Trade activated, Blaze gets out, but now we're having still that fort at the top lane eliminated. And it brings us back to the initial assumption. Once 10 hits, BlossoM is going to be a very different beast.
Umbral Bind is dropped, Hyperion, and LOK is just removed right now. Bunker gets taken out, Locktar getting chased down. He is not going to be able to get out of here, as he will go down as well. And that was a brutal turnaround, easily able to sidestep the Spirit of Vengeance from Maiev.
Yeah, this is where you can really tell that BlossoM just has the better coordination in these team fights now around level 10. And you can't blame BTG for that. Again, they're playing with 2 sub-players here. They did fantastic yesterday against China, but today here against Korea. Despite the strong opening, it seems that BlossoM is now slowly taking over control of Game 1.
It's slow, it's methodical, but they are doing it unless they can pick off Wiz here, but it's a Tyrael, man. He's just so mobile, not even able to land the Stormbolt. Tyrael able to escape.
I mean, Muradin completed the Stormbolt quest. He has only 19 stacks though in the Perfect Storm, but at least it's some, you get the cooldown reduction now in those fights, so that helps. Mosh Pit is always a threat now in these big fights. That's something we have to consider here from BlossoM's perspective. Next one is going to come up soon. This is really the big one because now we're looking at teams that will hit level 13 around the Immortal. Already the attempt to go in deep here. Dancing with a salvo. Here's the party. The shots are being fired any moment now, but is it enough to save Maiev here? I don't really think so. Maiev goes down, and she's not the only one. Muradin follows shortly after.
Cleansing Flame, far too late. Doesn't save anyone. He's trying to burst down. Well, he's trying to burst down Modern, but has to pull all the way back here. The Dragon Queen too late to interrupt the Mosh Pit, and the Cleansing Flame too late to save the Muradin as BlossoM pick up the double kill.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, It's rough. It's really rough
Yeah.
for BTG at this point. They have Smurden back in like 6 seconds, so they will be able to fight for the halftime show, at least to an extent. But on the side of BlossoM, they didn't even have to use heroic abilities outside of Mosh Pit. So we still look at, especially, of course, Reina holding back his Hyperion that he can now use in the fight to create some space. But the race is already on, and they can't make it to the other side quick enough. So this is going to be another Immortal in favor of BlossoM.
They burn down the shield as best they can, burn it to the 50% point or just over, as BTG pulls back to their base. Almost a full level behind, now a full level behind with that Immortal being complete. A quick Fallen Shaman is taken by BTG, which is going to give them at least some kind of counter push. Because of that, Tyrael not joining the rest of his team, he's going for that split zone.
They're wrapping around. They're actually looking for that fight
my.
right now. That might
Modern
just
sees
work
it.
out for them if they play their cards right here.
Once again, Tyrael's not here.
Hop,
Modern's
little
over
dwarf,
the
hop.
wall. He jumps over, finds Honkono, but a beautiful Lord Nado pushing back 619. Here comes the salvo, looking for the kill on anyone, and they get the Raider.
Reina is down. He might not be the only one. Li Ming!
Okay.
And down she goes. The double kill. Can they get more? Already Maiev on the move back here, but
got
there's...
it.
Oh, there's that guy that goes down. And
Tyrael
sanctification on the ground as we are seeing two escape. Wiz and Honkono both able to move away here.
Cleansing Flame used to burn down the Immortal here, just full commitment on the damage.
Top lane going to fall soon. The fort is being attacked by the camp that BTG took earlier.
That was a gorgeous wraparound, able to make that play. LLK once again escaping on the minuscule amount of hit points as Li Ming goes down. Otherwise, that would have been a dominant stack. This was close, but BTG, once again, when it comes down to those scrappier fights, China experience rings through.
It keeps them in the game. They are half a level behind on level 15, and that's actually not too bad. They haven't lost the keep yet. They can fight on 16 talents for the next Immortal. They're definitely still in this. And the kill count is in their favor.
Early ground. Dragon Queen immediately dropped here to try and turn this round. Moshpit is available, and they are all very grouped, but 619 is separate from this, which is the risk here. Honkono doesn't want to get immediately hit by that Q. Stormbot is dropped, Wim Buffett, and that is going to be maybe enough for them to back up as another Holy Ground cuts off the escape. Dragon Queen is expired. This is risky. They're grouped. Lord Nado, the kills from Li Ming. They are obscene.
Ah, that's the double kill, and we're having LAK in trouble as well. Interrupt here, Salvo comes out. They try to get the kill against Wiz at least. That's not happening. Maiev falls. And BTG, just as they looked pretty decent here, engage into a fight that they really don't want. Stay way too long instead of just moving out, and BlossoM is taking the opportunity to zone them off with the Holy Ground again. Takes the win, takes the 3 kills, and now they're going straight for the wall at the keep.
Holy Ground, really good ability, able to shut that down. You can't play around that. They didn't have the ability to get through it. And as such, this will be the first keep of the game going over to BlossoM. That top fort actually survived the mercenary camp earlier. So BTG fall and a full level behind, or actually 2 levels behind in experience, but they are at least about to even up on talents very shortly.
It was really unnecessary. For BlossoM, those of course fantastic. I mean, they got the fight exactly where they wanted it. They got the max value out of the Holy Ground. But from BTG's perspective, this was definitely something that you didn't need to engage into. Now they're trying to scramble for experience to get 16 to do something here. Halftime show is very likely to end in favor of BlossoM. BTG could force another fight around level 16 talents. And I mean, if they get that, they might get their way back into this. It's going to be tricky though.
The halfway point is reached. Blaze soaks them up to level 16 as BlossoM. They take the most of the situation and begin working on the camp, and this would be a pretty reasonable place for BTG to dive. Here comes the Spirit of Vengeance. Muradin dives first. LLK begins to wrap around from the side. 619 is currently a little bit separated from his team, though.
2 heroics are still on cooldown for BlossoM, so BTG has the upper hand when it comes to cooldowns. They're going already in with this. They want the camp, but they're about to get it. But there's the Holy Ground stealing it away, or at least they attempt to do exactly that. Here comes the fight, and that's what they were waiting for. The bunker's already on the ground. Moshpit back in too, but the kill against Muradin even allowed without those talents in play.
Salvo's pretty good, though. They're dropping some... Well, no damage. It was immediately blocked by Tyrael. No slows this time, and that was an interesting engage attempt, but they were unable to take that fight.
Yeah, interesting is a good word for it. I mean, right now, Initially, I really don't mind it because they already know that there's 2 heroic abilities that are not available on the other side. The problem is they really force everything on that one point, and they allow not only the Holy Ground, but also Sanctification to get max value there. And if you just think about how this went, Reyna didn't even go for his heroic ability. So now there's a 2.5 level lead, you take a nearly 100 shield Immortal, and you start pushing in with this. The keep is already gone. That's a death sentence, more or less.
Okay, Phoenix teleports over the wall. He's going to be able to port back. Everyone in his team is alive. They also have a couple heroics as they begin to try and force back BlossoM. A Lord Nado zones away healer please for a bit. But it's all about killing off this Immortal as fast as possible. Warden's Cage drops very early. They're going to try and blow up Gondar before this fight even really begins as the bunker is dropped. LOK gets in, and it's still going to be Reyna who goes down first.
Reyna goes down, but they're going for Alex now, and here comes the ult attempt. That's not quite working. Blaze falls as Li Ming gets the reset, trying to go in again. Maiev moves away. The core is also falling as we are having it down to 60-50% already, but this is looking pretty much like game. Immortal hasn't even lost the shields yet.
Down goes the core. BTG unable to take the final fight, and that is going to be BlossoM with game number 1.
Interesting also that Alexstrasza on her level 1 quest only got 19 stacks throughout the entire game.
It's rough. Once again, they didn't really win enough of those Immortal races to get those extra globes. It was a bold call, but one that did not work out in their favor. And yeah, the fights looked okay until they started falling over a level behind. And Snitch, a little bit rough there for BTG, but BlossoM, rough start, but great finish.
Honestly, I think BTG can be very happy with this